Hello, my name's Lilia and I'm an English teacher living and working in the beautiful city of Kiev. 2 years ago I did my CAE exam and I did pretty well in speaking, so I just decided I really wanted to share some quick tips with you on how to get through the speaking part of the exam, because Cambridge exams are becoming so popular nowadays, especially here in Ukraine. I'm currently doing my CP course at language school, so I just decided that a couple of tips on what you shouldn't do during a speaking exam will never be detrimental. Because you're watching this video, I presume that you know that Cambridge examinations in English are taken by non-native English speaker students, which is why our mistakes could be explained in certain ways. And the first and really big mistake is when people try to take more time of their speaking part by repeating part of the sentence that they had said before, like a couple of times. So for example, there's like an environmental topic to discuss and it's about local council opening new facilities for students. Well, students might come up with the following, like local council should start opening new leisure centres around the city. Local council should start putting more bins in the street to throw litter in. Local council should start, etc. So this is it. Don't try to repeat the phrase again and again. That won't score you points. The only thing you do is you limit your own time that you could do speaking, which is valid and up to the point. Another thing that non-native speakers sometimes do, always do, so this is something what I noticed. When you say something like very complicated, like a word that is not so common, say for example you say the word like outrageous, impeccable, something that not everybody uses and not everybody knows, even at the advanced level. Of course you know those, but just you stop after that word thinking that you've said something really good and you think that that will do. For example, you come up with an idiom, so for example, a relationship doesn't have to be a one-way street. So you think your part here is done and you don't really have to say anything more apart from that, because this is already what has scored you points. Don't stop. You should be alert over the whole exam, but not just saying one really good phrase and then ceasing to try and just saying nothing. No, just have to be alert. Please be alert and don't stop. Another thing that people always do is emphasizing words. So for example, when you're speaking, and it's really easy to identify a non-native speaker here, because when we say a really advanced word, we emphasize it a lot. So for example, we said, I think that throwing litter in the streets is outrageous. So we sort of tense our muscles so much when we say it. We say it in a little bit louder voice, which is always so noticeable, so you can easily spot this, and this is what we always do. Try not to do this, just try to make an impression that everything comes out naturally and you don't really struggle over specific words and phrases. The next thing that we sometimes do is starting correcting ourselves. So for example, if you say something and the mistake is really minor, you don't really have to go over it again and say that again, but just in other words. If you go like, last night I go to the pub. Oh no, last night I went. Yes, last night I went to the pub. So you're basically stealing time from yourself, which of course you shouldn't do, because well, sometimes the mistakes come out as a slip of the tongue, so just slip up and you get the mistake. But I think if your level of English is very good in general, the examiner will just let you get away with that mistake and won't really punish you for it harshly. So just don't really take too much time correcting your own mistakes. but just focus on developing a sentence, adding more valuable details to it than just repeating yourself, but just with a minor correction. Also, and I like to add this to repeating part of a sentence, people tend to repeat the same word so many times. They got like we as Ukrainians, and I think that like other nations also got the words like important, interesting, the lifesaver words that people go for like too often. We say those words for everything. We just replace any other words for those words because we maybe get too nervous or maybe too excited about the exam, and we actually forget like more advanced synonyms to the words. We just come up with like important, interesting, maybe, etc. The best solution to it is to learn more advanced synonyms to these words and to go for these synonyms instead of just saying simple elementary words. Maybe not elementary, but just intermediate. Stick to more advanced synonyms in that. To be honest with you guys, when I did my CAE and when I came this year to the beginning of CPE, my writing and my speaking was a little bit unnatural because I used to use too many idioms. I used to throw them in every sentence. This doesn't necessarily mean that my speech was idiomatic or like metaphorical or like, I don't really know, some really natural. No, it wasn't, because it was unnatural. It was something, it didn't have to be, because just try to notice how you speak in your language. Do you really use a lot of idioms? No, but you do when they're really up to the point and when you feel that there is a place for an idiom in your sentence. Imagine that you're in a pub or at a party and you're talking to a friend, but just don't get the false impression that you're at the exam just to have a really good time. Just try to embrace yourself, to concentrate, and this is the way to a good result. I'm going to talk about one more thing, and this is insincere agreeing. Agreeing just to agree, and to show that you know the phrases like I'm totally with you on that point, we're on the same page, I pretty much agree with you on that. So when you just feel that the partner is talking rubbish, it's okay to disagree, then say I agree with you, and then continue your point. Because that doesn't sound sincere, that doesn't sound natural, you don't really do that. Because the examiner will know that you're agreeing just to say that you agree. And, well, this is not something that you should do. If you're in your late teens, or maybe in your 20s, or just older than that, you probably know something interesting from your life experience. And you know what to talk about. You have your opinion on things. So don't just go for what your partner says. You really have a right to disagree, to say no, I don't agree with you. And this is okay. There is nothing wrong about it. So you can easily say, okay, I don't agree with you. Or maybe like classic British disagreeing, yeah, but you can go for it. Another mistake, constructing such a long sentence that literally has no end. So you start like, and I went on a great holiday and it was just so amazing, so I went there with my family but my brother wasn't there, and we literally went there, so it was just amazing, which is just great, and no people could really be our like help, or we didn't really know what, no, I know. So something like going for a really complicated structure, don't do it, because it will not score you points. You will only lose your points by making such a long sentence that has no end. Sometimes I do that in my videos, which is me being a bit hypocritical. I think that I'll hopefully get over it. So the next thing is talking about yourself. Of course, in the first part of a Cambridge exam, you have to talk about yourself, because the examiner is going to ask you questions like, where do you live, can you tell me something about your local area, etc. Do you go to the gym, something like this. But the last part of the exam literally focuses on your general knowledge of general English and ability to talk about general issues and not only about yourself. Well, of course, everybody likes talking about themselves, and talking about yourself is probably the field where you can do your best. So basically all people are really good at talking about yourself because you know what your personal experience is and you can ramble on it for ages. But don't forget that the exam is about general things too, so you need to have some background experience to talk about that. And so to do that, just before the exam, try to read some news, to find out what's on the news, to watch some TV program, just to broaden your mind a little bit. If you get a question and it has like very good grammatical structures or maybe vocabulary that you really like, you just go with repeating this question and pushing from the words that you have in it. So you don't really invent the words of your own, maybe replacements to those words. You just listen to the question, or you read it, because if it's written you can read it, and you just repeat it. So it's not really a good idea to make a positive sentence from a question, because, well, this is something that like elementary, maybe pre-intermediate students can do, but you're at the upper intermediate level at least. So you just have to show that you've got a better command of vocabulary and stuff like that. Right, so I was very happy to make this video for you today. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up, and I can't really advise you to subscribe to my channel because there is only one video on it. Hopefully I'll manage to put more videos on my channel in the future. It was a real pleasure to see you guys here today and listening to me talking. See you next time. Bye!